You've been told for decades that a warm bowl of oatmeal is the ultimate heart-healthy way to start your day. But what if I told you that very same bowl might be the exact reason you are exhausted by 10:30 a.m., constantly hungry, and struggling to lose stubborn belly fat? If you are eating oatmeal every morning because you believe it's protecting your heart and your waistline, you need to hear this. I am Dr. Sarah, a clinical dietitian, and in my practice, I sit across from women and men every single day who are trying their absolute best to be healthy. They are following the rules. They are carefully walking down the grocery store aisles, choosing the boxes boldly marked heart healthy and lowers cholesterol. But despite their best efforts, they feel terrible. Their energy is inconsistent, their weight won't budge, and their doctors are warning them that their A1C levels are creeping up. Today, I am going to show you the hidden metabolic trap hiding inside that innocent-looking bowl of morning oats. We are going to break down exactly why it might be causing massive blood sugar spikes inside your body, and most importantly, I will show you exactly how you can fix your morning routine so you can finally achieve stable, all-day energy and zero mid-morning crashes. But before we get into the biology of how this works, I want to know a little bit about your morning routine. What do you usually put in your oatmeal? Do you use a little brown sugar, maple syrup, maybe some raisins, or a sliced banana? Let me know in the comments below, because one of those specific, seemingly healthy toppings actually makes this blood sugar spike twice as bad. We'll talk about why in just a minute. Let me tell you about a patient of mine. Let's call her Denise. Denise is a 45-year-old former middle school teacher from Grand Rapids, Michigan. When she first came to my clinic, she was incredibly frustrated. She sat in the chair across from my desk and told me, "Dr. Sarah, I do everything right. I don't eat donuts for breakfast. I don't stop at the drive-thru for greasy sandwiches or sugary lattes. Every single morning at 7 a.m., I make myself a bowl of instant oatmeal. It says right on the box that it's good for me." But here was Denise's reality. By 10:30 a.m. every single day, she felt completely wiped out. She would get the shakes, her brain would get incredibly foggy, and she would be fighting intense, overpowering cravings for something sweet or salty. She felt like she was failing. She told me she thought she just didn't have any willpower and that her metabolism was just permanently broken because of her age. I had to look at her and explain what I am about to explain to you. Denise wasn't failing. Her breakfast was failing her. To understand why this is happening to people like Denise, we have to look past the clever marketing on the front of the cardboard box and look at what actually happens inside your digestive tract when you eat standard instant oatmeal. Now, let me be very clear so we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Oats themselves are not bad. In fact, traditional intact oats are quite healthy. With just 1 cup of oatmeal, you get 13 grams of protein, 8 grams of fiber, and essential minerals like iron, folate, zinc, and phosphorus. There is a specific type of fiber present in oats called beta-glucan, which research shows actually reduces LDL cholesterol and lowers your risk of cardiovascular diseases. So, if oats have all these incredible, scientifically proven benefits, where exactly is the danger? The danger is in the processing. The danger lies in what happens to that grain before it gets put into those convenient little paper packets. Think about a traditional steel-cut oat. A steel-cut oat is essentially a whole oat groat that has just been chopped into 2 or 3 pieces. When you eat it, it takes your stomach a long time to break it down. Your digestive system has to physically work for it. That slow breakdown process means the carbohydrates enter your bloodstream as a slow, steady, manageable trickle of energy. But that is not what most people are eating. Most people are buying instant oats or quick-cooking oats. To make an oat cook in 60 seconds in your microwave, food manufacturers have to aggressively steam it, roll it incredibly thin, and essentially pulverize it. By the time you add hot water in your kitchen, that oat is practically pre-digested. When you eat pulverized instant oats, your stomach doesn't have to do any work at all. The food empties out of your stomach and dumps into your small intestine almost immediately. And because it is already broken down, those carbohydrates are instantly converted into glucose, which is sugar, and rushed straight into your bloodstream. Inside your body, that heart-healthy instant oatmeal behaves almost exactly like a candy bar. Your blood sugar rockets upward. This is what we call a severe glucose spike. Now, your body is highly intelligent. It senses this dangerous rapid spike in blood sugar, and your pancreas hits the panic button. It floods your system with a hormone called insulin. Insulin is a storage hormone. Its primary job is to grab that excess sugar out of your blood and shove it into your muscle cells, or store it as belly fat, just to get you out of the danger zone. But because the spike from the instant oats was so rapid and so unnatural, your pancreas often panics and overcompensates. It releases entirely too much insulin. So your blood sugar doesn't just return to a normal, steady baseline. It crashes violently down below baseline. This is a physiological state called reactive hypoglycemia. And this is exactly what was happening to Denise at 10:30 in the morning. When your blood sugar crashes like this, your brain perceives it as a literal threat to your survival. It triggers the release of stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. You start feeling jittery. You get a sudden headache or brain fog. You feel utterly exhausted. And your brain screams at you to find quick energy, which is why you suddenly crave a muffin, a pastry, or a second cup of sweet coffee mid-morning. You aren't lacking discipline. You are strapped into a biochemical roller coaster, and you bought the ticket the moment you poured hot water over those processed instant oats. And the problem gets even worse when we look at how most people actually prepare their bowls and what they pair it with. Let's talk about how you are actually making that bowl of oatmeal, because this is where the trap snaps shut. I once cared for a man I'll call Arthur. Arthur is a 68-year-old widower in Dayton, Ohio. He came to me because he was struggling with his weight and his doctor had warned him about his rising triglycerides. Arthur was very proud of his breakfast routine. He told me, "Dr. Sarah, I don't eat bacon or sausage. I make my instant oats, and to sweeten it naturally, I just slice up a very ripe banana and drizzle a little local honey on top. That's healthy, right?" It sounds incredibly healthy. But I had to gently explain to Arthur what was actually happening inside his bloodstream. When you take pulverized instant oats, which, as we just discussed, digest rapidly, and you add honey, you are adding pure, fast-acting sugar. Then, you add a ripe banana. Bananas provide carbohydrates in a form the body can quickly convert into energy. When eaten alone, or in this case, on top of quick-digesting grains, they can aggressively raise your blood sugar. Arthur had inadvertently created a massive glucose bomb. He was eating a bowl of what I call naked carbohydrates. A naked carbohydrate is any carb that you eat completely by itself, without any protein or healthy fat to act as a metabolic buffer. Think of your digestive system like a kitchen funnel. If you pour a pitcher of water into a funnel all at once, it rushes right through the bottom. That is exactly what naked carbohydrates do in your stomach. They rush straight into your small intestine and flood your bloodstream with sugar. But what happens if you stuff a dense sponge inside that funnel before you pour the water? The water drips through slowly, steadily, and evenly. In your body, protein and healthy fats act as that sponge. Protein and fat digest slower, so instead of getting a rapid blood sugar spike, then a sudden crash, then cravings, you get slow, steady fuel. But here's what most people miss. We've been culturally conditioned for decades to fear dietary fat, especially in the morning. This brings me to another patient, Sylvia. Sylvia is a 71-year-old retired bookkeeper from Mesa, Arizona. Sylvia suffered from terrible afternoon brain fog. She couldn't focus on her reading, and she felt like she needed a heavy nap by 2 p.m. every single day. Her breakfast? Instant oatmeal made with skim milk, because she was strictly avoiding fats to protect her heart. By using skim milk, Sylvia was deliberately removing the very macronutrient, fat, that could have slowed down her gastric emptying. She was drinking sugar water on top of pre-digested grains. Her insulin levels were spiking so high every morning that the rest of her day was spent trapped in a chemical crash. Now, this is where things change. I want you to understand what happens to your body when you repeat this cycle of massive spikes and crashes every single morning for 5, 10, or 20 years. Your cells are constantly being bombarded by insulin trying to shove excess sugar into them. Over time, your cells become exhausted and start to protect themselves. They pull down the blinds, they lock the doors, they literally stop responding to the insulin signal. This is a progressive condition called insulin resistance. When your cells resist insulin, the sugar stays trapped in your bloodstream, damaging your delicate blood vessels, causing systemic inflammation, and putting you on a direct, accelerated path to prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. And this is the tragedy of deceptive food marketing. Millions of adults are eating highly processed instant oatmeal every day, genuinely thinking they are protecting their cardiovascular health, while silently driving themselves right into insulin resistance. If you are listening to this and nodding your head, if you feel that mid-morning fatigue, or if your doctor has mentioned that your blood sugar is creeping up, I want you to take control today. You don't have to just guess about what is happening inside your metabolism. You can measure it. The next time you are at the clinic for your annual blood work, do not just accept a standard fasting glucose test. Fasting glucose only tells you how much sugar is in your blood at that exact second in time. It does not tell you how hard your pancreas is working behind the scenes to keep that number normal. Ask your doctor this exact question. Can we please add a fasting insulin test to my lab work or calculate my HOMA-IR score? Let me repeat that, because it could change the trajectory of your health. Ask for a fasting insulin test. Fasting insulin will rise years, sometimes a full decade, before your fasting blood sugar ever flags as a problem. It is your ultimate early warning system. If your fasting insulin is high, it means your body is screaming at you to change how you are sequencing and eating your morning carbohydrates. So, does this mean you can never eat a warm bowl of oatmeal again? Does this mean you have to throw away everything in your pantry and eat nothing but hard-boiled eggs for the rest of your life? Absolutely not. Remember, your body is incredibly resilient. It responds beautifully when you give it the right tools and the right biological signals. Food isn't just energy, it is instructions. And tomorrow morning, we are going to send your metabolism a completely different set of instructions. We are going to transition away from those pulverized instant packets and change exactly how we build your breakfast bowl. By making a few simple, strategic swaps, we can take that exact same morning routine and turn it from a glucose-spiking trap into a slow-burning, fat-burning engine that keeps you full, focused, and energized until lunchtime. Let me show you exactly what that looks like on your breakfast table. The fix is what I call clothing your carbohydrates. You never want to send naked carbohydrates into your digestive system first thing in the morning. We need to build a protective buffer, and it is actually remarkably simple once you know the formula. Here is the perfect blood sugar stabilizing breakfast protocol. It has only 3 distinct parts. Step 1. Your protein anchor. Before any carbohydrate enters your mouth, you need a substantial dose of complete protein. For most adults, 2 to 3 eggs is a perfect starting point. Because eggs contain complete protein, your body can actually use it efficiently to keep hunger and cravings down. When your body senses enough protein, it calms down, and you stop thinking about food every hour. If you do not eat eggs, plain unsweetened Greek yogurt is a fantastic alternative, as its slow-digesting protein supports muscle maintenance and cellular repair. Step 2. The fiber break. Fiber slows digestion and smooths out blood sugar. If you are absolutely unwilling to give up your oatmeal, you must upgrade the grain. Throw the instant packets in the trash. Buy traditional, intact, steel-cut oats. Because they are not pulverized, your stomach has to do the physical work to break them down. And instead of preparing them with skim milk and sugary fruits, I want you to make them savory. Step 3. The healthy fat protector. Remember our kitchen funnel analogy? Fat is the sponge. But a lot of people hear fat is good, and they add extra cheese, butter mountains, and heavy cream, which just turns breakfast into a calorie bomb. The goal is to add just enough to stay full. My favorite addition to a savory breakfast bowl is avocado. The healthy fat in an avocado physically slows down the rate at which your stomach empties its contents, which prevents a rapid surge of sugar and protects your pancreas from being overworked by constant high insulin demands. Plus, there is a beautiful secondary benefit to this specific healthy fat as we age. The healthy fats in avocado are used by your body to help produce synovial fluid, which is the natural lubrication inside your joints. Many older adults report feeling less stiffness and more flexibility when they make avocado a regular part of their diet. So by making this one morning swap, you are protecting your blood sugar, keeping your insulin low, and actively supporting your skeletal and joint health all at the exact same time. Let's go back to Denise, the 45-year-old former teacher who was crashing so hard at 10:30 a.m. every single day. We didn't put her on a restrictive, miserable starvation diet. We simply changed her morning sequence. She swapped her instant oats for a much smaller portion of slow-cooked steel-cut oats cooked in bone broth, and she clothed those carbs by eating 2 scrambled eggs first, topped with a few slices of avocado. The result? Within 3 days, her mid-morning shakes completely disappeared. She wasn't starving by 10:30 anymore. Her brain fog lifted, her afternoon cravings vanished, and she finally started seeing her waistline shrink. Why? Because her insulin levels were finally staying low enough to allow her body to switch out of storage mode and into fat-burning mode. I want you to know something very important. If you have been struggling with your weight, fighting afternoon fatigue, or watching your blood sugar numbers slowly creep up year after year, it is not a lack of willpower. you are not failing. You have just been operating on the wrong biological instructions provided by deceptive, outdated food marketing. You have the power to take your control back, and it starts with tomorrow morning's breakfast. Now, it's time to take action. I want to hear from you, and I want us to make a commitment together in the comments below. Comment the phrase "starting today" if you are going to swap out those instant packets for a savory breakfast or add a protein starter tomorrow morning. Comment "asking my doctor" if you are going to request that fasting insulin test at your next clinical visit. And comment "sending this" if you have a spouse, a best friend, or a loved one who eats instant oatmeal every single morning and desperately needs to understand this hidden risk. If this video helped you understand your body a little bit better, please hit the share button and send it directly to someone you care about. Save this video so you can reference the protocol before your next grocery trip. And make sure to subscribe to the channel because next week we are diving into the hidden evening habits that are silently blocking your cellular repair overnight. I am Dr. Sarah, and I will see you in the next video.